Hello, everyone. My name's Hank Setala,
And I'm Tony.
and this is Stir Crazy Shamans, minus Casey, but plus a Tony. Welcome, everyone. Casey had something last minute come up, but last night Tony had messaged me that he was going to be available to be on Stir Crazy Shamans, so we still got plural. We got two shamans, and we're both stir crazy. And
Right.
we're going to just have a little bit of fun today, seeing whatever comes up. I'm just going to start streaming to the Positive Pineapple as soon as I find your page. But Tony, what's going on, man? I've known you for a bit, but we haven't really had a chance to really have a good talk, just you and I. So this is kind of twofold in a way.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We get to hang out and spend some time together. I've been looking forward to it because you're the sonic shaman. So that really appeals to me because I too really have a strong connection to frequency and vibration. So there's probably a lot of things that we understand about each other that we don't know yet.
Oh, absolutely. I wish I had my sound toys here. Everything's at the office, so but that's all right. But yeah, I've always been drawn to sound and frequency, and it started from I was looking for something when I was taking my training at Lilydale. Like everything we were learning seemed to really be focused on the spiritual side and the emotional side, mental. And I want something for physical things. And tuning forks, there's frequencies that support organs and support pain management and all kinds of things. So like that was one of the things that I could offer for people with physical things going on. And then it just blew up into this whole world of frequency, sound, vibration. And there's nothing that frequency and vibration can't do.
Right, because everything is frequency and vibration. That's kind of how it started for me, with my energy awakening. It started for me, I started perceiving frequency and sound. I thought it was sound anyways at first, but it wasn't happening through my ears, it's happening through here. And as it started unfolding, it started showing itself to me as information. It started becoming, that was my first connection to spirit, was through that feeling of information and frequency.
Yeah. And so do you use any sound tools yourself, or is it just toning? Like how do you use?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm still pretty young. I'm a young wizard. So I need some time yet to grow. I'm just getting started in this. It's just beginning. For me, it's the beginning. Even though I'm already facilitating physical healings and stuff for people, it's all really new to me, and I'm at the beginning. But I'm totally intrigued by when I watched a lot of your other streams and stuff, and I watched the stuff you do, and I love sound baths and stuff, and I get a lot of information and download from that stuff. So I do dig it. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think you have something going on every single time that I have a sound bath. I think you and Mary have an event somewhere else. So I'll leave everything set up one day. Maybe we could have like a private sound bath maybe on Saturday.
Yeah, then maybe we can overcome your aversion to breath work, and we can get some vibe going on here.
Well, I've done breath work. I think so it might be like sometimes if there's too much excitement around something, then maybe I get unexcited about it. But I definitely have done breath work. Oh, here's my kids and my wife coming home. So one moment, folks, I'm just going to turn my mic off while they get situated. But go ahead and tell me a little bit more about how you found frequency and sound and really what drew you to it.
Well, basically what happened for me is it started through breath work. Believe it or not, my breathing took me into like deep meditative states. And in these states, I started noticing what I thought at first was what I thought was what I looked up in a medical, type setting to be tinnitus. But as I kept doing the breath work and taking my mind and taking my being into it, I started being able to perceive the different layers and textures of this information coming in. And as that happened, then it started turning into feeling. Then the feeling started turning into thought. And then through there, I started being able to more and more attach and start making connections. And this helped me facilitate my own personal healing. And that's how I got started into all this with the Positive Pineapple and things like that, is through my own personal healing. Because I was very, very ill. I had pretty bad COPD, like lung disease, and I was suffering pretty bad, which led to depression and anxiety. And I found myself laying in my bed one day wondering why I should keep doing this. And then spirit came to me, which I didn't know at the time that's what that was, but something came to me and said, hey, why don't you try something different? Why don't you just open up a new possibility? And I said, That's a good idea. So thus, the idea of using positive thinking, it's just the basis of things. You're starting using my mind to see that everything that's happened to me has actually happened for me. And as I started that unfolded, I started seeing all the gifts that have been given to me throughout my life that added to my awakening of my spirit, my connection to energy and spirit. And as that continues to grow, and it's still growing, it's still evolving and still growing. It's getting sharper and sharper all the time, because now I've graduated from just the sense, and now I actually see. I actually can change my vision. I can see things. I can actually see divine geometry is basically what I perceive it as, and pieces of energy and webbing and lines. There's all kinds of stuff everywhere, and that's how I've been helping people to recover from certain things.
That is amazing. And I love how you have it as frequency and feel, because as much fun as the sound tools are, none of it is needed. And like, I'll be with a client and I'll hear a particular tone or feel a particular frequency, and you just flow that frequency. And even without a tool, like, you can have people get a very similar effect to if you did have the tuning fork there, or a particular plant medicine there, or something else. Like, everything is a vibration. And if you can resonate that through to whoever you're working with, you can have all the benefits without needing the tool. But they say a shaman is a showman. So a lot of those fun tools and things, because some people, the mind needs to see something and needs something tangible. So though the tool's not needed for the healer, sometimes the client, they need to see you do something. Otherwise, they're not in the space to receive. So it's kind of a paradoxical type of thing. It's needed, but it's not needed until it's not needed.
Right. I totally understand that, because I'm early on in my healing practice. And already so far, I've been able to facilitate a couple healings just with intent, just with my intent, and just making the intent and putting that frequency that way. I've been able to change some things. So I know that anything's possible now. So knowing that opens up the door and the possibility to be able to do anything.
Yeah, and I should get the link. I don't have your link in the description, because it was kind of like I didn't update it with it. But Tony has a YouTube channel as well, and he's been doing live streams with Casey, where they've been doing those live online shamanic healings, and just through the comments been facilitating a lot of healing of that. And both Casey and him are both really amazing physical healers. Like, you got a physical pain, you're in really good hands with either of the two. Where I'm more of a yachai, like a mental healer, more of a I work differently. Not that I haven't done things with pain, but it's never been my focus. In fact, I never even checked in with people before and after sessions about pain to know if I'm having an impact or not, because that's never been my focus. It's always been on, mindset and working through the mental blocks of things and reframing things for people.
Yep. And we do our own live streams too. We do some with Casey. We did one last night that was really nice. And what I do is, I'm kind of like a breath shaman. What I do is I use the breath. The breath for me is how I get people to open their energy field and expose themselves and open themselves to receive. Because it's typically is the issue with trying to help anyone, is trying to get them to open, trying to get them to release and let go and receive the healing. So the breath work really just opens up that avenue really quickly. And last night, actually, we did 3 healings on there. And as I was facilitating healing for the first person, the 2 people that were waiting were also receiving residual healing from the energy being moved. So that was really intense. So we love doing those things, and I'm going to plan to do a lot more. And actually, Casey and I have an event tomorrow at Rocky River Reservation in the Little Cedar Point picnic area. And what we're going to do is we're offering free healing for anyone that needs free healing. And if they come there, we'll facilitate free healing in exchange for letting us video the experience. So we can create like montage videos to get other people interested and see possibility and potentially find healing for themselves.
Yeah, I recorded a few things with Casey, but I don't do video editing, so I never did anything with the videos. Yeah. But Little Cedar Point Picnic area is a place where we've gone on tons of hikes. So let me put the YouTube link for it. Do you guys have a link for information about the event somewhere, or is it just kind of been word of mouth?
The only place it is, I think, is Facebook. I think is the only place it is. Like I said, before the thing, I told Hank we were having some technical issues, and I'm like totally technically illiterate for the most part. So I got to have my wife, Mary, my mommy, come here and help us. So I can't answer that exactly, Hank. I know that it's on Facebook. We posted it on there. I don't know where else. I'm trying. It's just the first one. We're going to plan on doing more of them because we want to try to get as many people as possible. The whole idea is to raise vibration of humanity. That's my whole goal. That's my whole wish is to, and that's how this started. I want to change the world. I want to help heal the world. So yeah, it's going to start there, but it's excellent, and I can't wait to try it out. And yeah, I've watched you and Casey do some tandem healings, and they were fascinating. I was watching it because of your yachai, because you see this two things. You see a moon eye and a yachai happening at the same time, and it's like this swirl. Because even when I watch live streams, I can perceive your guys' energy. I can see your fractals and things. And I was just watching all this energy move, and it was even a past episode, and I actually felt healed from it. I felt great from it.
Oh yeah, in the ever-present moment of now. It doesn't matter when the healing thing occurred; it's all there. And we did like these weekly ceremony and sound type of things too. In addition to my favorite one that we've done was like this soul retrieval one where we were going back and forth and just fell into this rhythm. Like he would say part of it, and I would say part of it, and it was just like we were one being going through it, and it was really
That's
good.
The one.
We ought to do it more often, but we don't.
You should, because I think it's a great, again, back to Shamans, a showman. That's a good show, and it made me feel great. I loved watching it, and I love being a part of it. And that's also when we do our live streams, I try to tell people, and this has happened. I've had people reach out to me after our live stream saying, yeah, I was having this or this issue. I was like yesterday, like we had 3 of them. So one was for constipation, like 8 out of 10 stomach issue. And then we had a like 10 out of 10 heartbreak heaviness. Got her down to 0. And then what was the last one? That was the actual physical malady. But a migraine headache, a 9 out of 10 migraine headache. And people that watch these kind of things, if they could attach themselves to it, they receive the healing too, because energy knows no distance or time. So I try to let people understand that. And as soon as they do that, we can open up. Again, it's all about opening possibilities, right?
Absolutely. And Free Shaman, I found the event under your page. It wasn't under Shaman's Way, but I found it under your page. So I'm going to post that in the comments too. This is for the healing sessions tomorrow at Cedar Point Picnic area. So you would need to be local to the Cleveland area. That's something over by North Olmsted or Olmsted Falls. I forget which city it's in. It's close to the border.
Yep, it's North Olmsted is the actual city right there, but it's in Rocky River Reservation, and it's just a nice little area. Beautiful nature beings around there. There's a lot of beautiful energy happening right there. So it's really quite conducive, I could see, to adding to the healing experience.
Yeah, and that's where we take people for when we do the in-person shaman apprenticeship work up at Fort Hill, up on that walkway. There's like these earthworks there, and we would take people there to do a dispatch of the wind into the sun. So go in for your healing, but walk that path and just take a moment and go up to those earthworks, because there is an energy to it. They all have different theories about what it is, but I won't say what I think it is, but I would invite everybody to go and have that experience, because it is such a sacred little spot. And right after we did this dispatch work, this deer actually like manifested out of nowhere, and it's like a drop-off cliff on all sides. There's nowhere this deer could have come from, but it appeared like right where we had offered the despacho, sniffed around where we had just stood, and then just kind of sauntered off.
Awesome.
It's such a cool, magical moment. So what time actually I'm on the event. It's starting at
2:15. 2:15 is when I started. Yep, it's afternoon. It's 2:15. I know there's at least a handful of people coming. You know, people always like to show up to things without saying anything, and that's okay. So we'll be there. We'll be doing the healing. I'll do a little bit of free breath work with some people. I'll be giving out some free stickers, some positive pineapple stickers. You stick them on stuff. Just don't use them for litter. Don't litter anything. Don't.
Yeah. Use it to spread positivity and not to litter.
Right.
But cool. But I posted the Facebook event too. So if that sings to your soul, or say it does sing to your soul, but you can't make it, be the invitation for other people. Share that with people that you know could benefit from healing, and have them show up and see what happens. Zane says it all the time in the program. In order to heal, you don't require faith. All we really require is the benefit of your doubt. And then based on your own experience, you develop your own faith.
Right. I see. Yeah. Speaking of Zane, I'm really into this apprenticeship that I've gotten the opportunity to be in. I love it. And thank you so much, Hank, for being a part of that. I really appreciate you for helping that, because it's just in time. I mean, it's just amazing how it's all worked out. Just as my energy capabilities have increased, right there, right in front of me unfolds an opportunity to learn about one of the and be part of probably one of the greatest healing traditions known to man. I think that's amazing.
And for those of you who don't know what the tradition is, Zane Kerfman, who's our mutual teacher, he wrote the book Inca Mountain Magic. He has the Kartari tradition of cross-cultural shamanism, and it's a blending of several different Paqo Kuna traditions. Paqo Kuna means nature mystic, as well as like the carols high up in the mountains, and then also blending in a little of the curandero traditions from the more coastal regions, and it's all coming together under this one tradition that kind of takes the best from them all and weaves them together beautifully. And that is the tradition that Tony is apprenticing. And even if you're not in the program, in August there is a retreat that's open up to everyone. You can go to emergenceofbeing.com. It's under Return to the Garden, but it's going to be a week-long retreat in Virginia. There is a shuttle from Cleveland to the place in Virginia, so you don't even have to drive if you don't want to, though you're welcome to drive yourself. And we're going to have an amazing time doing the Hatan Karpai, which means the Great Initiation. And really, this is the only piece of the work that really can't be done online, that we're going to get all the stuff that we can't do online done in person. So really looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite things to go through. Yep. I've been through it many times. It's so good.
Yeah, so I'm going to drive down. I told Casey I'm going to rent a car. So you want to ride with me, you can ride with me. Because, Casey hates driving. I don't think his scooter's got quite the range to to get there. Speaking of which, we got one of those scooters for our daughter. We were able to move some money around and ask for some of her other family members. She has an aversion to riding a bicycle. So we're like, well, we saw Casey and how much freedom he gained on this scooter. Like, hey, maybe this is for you. So it came yesterday. I charged it up and I drove it around, and I can totally understand and see why he loves it so much, because it sure is fun. It's tons of fun. You need one too, Hank. We need to get around. We need to start this shamanism. Well, I'll get the T-shirts printed up. Ask me about shamanic healing, and we can drive around on our scooters and just start healing people all over the place with our electric scooters.
I'm not going to say no, but man, wouldn't that create some attention? Just like all these three bearded shamans, especially Casey with his beard flapping in the wind.
Yeah, when he comes driving up, it's all split like this, and he's got big wide eyes, and he's so happy. When I first saw him on that thing, I was like, yep, that's a winner. He's free. Look at him. He's free. That was great.
Now, does anybody have pictures of this yet? I haven't seen a picture. Well, I saw the scooter, but we got a little video and picture and make a little GIF of Casey and then add the little flag to the back. Ask me about shamanic healing. Yeah. It's just going to be fun. But Casey, it's funny because he has such anxiety about anything to do with a car, and he thinks that he may have had a past life where he had an untimely departure from a car accident. But give him a scooter, which you would think would be more anxiety because you have no shell around you. Right. He's zipping around like with a total new freedom that he's never known. It's amazing.
Yeah. Until you ride it, Hank, you won't know. I rode it. I kind of understood when I looked at him, and I was picking up the energy coming off of him. I was like, oh yeah, I see, you're fully free. And then when I rode it yesterday, the sun was shining down on my face. I'm going 18 miles an hour down the side street on this little electric scooter. I was like, yep, I get it. This is beautiful. This is wonderful. It was great.
I will give it a try. We'll see. I had a bad experience with this little, those mini dirt bikes.
Yeah.
And my friend, he was all into dirt bikes. He's like, well, you're kind of nervous to ride the big one. Like, just try this. And I floored it, and basically the bike did a wheelie, and I'm running behind the bike going, help! And then I crashed right into a brick wall. And so I've not had good experiences with small little motorized devices, but I'm willing to try it. We'll see how it goes. I think a scooter is a little bit easier to manage than one of those little mini dirt bikes.
Mm-hmm. It is. I've ridden them both, and they're both really good. It's just something about that scooter. It's amazing. Like, because I've ridden on, the kind you power by yourself, and those are pretty cool. But this thing, when you just get going and you just get this little throttle with your thumb and zoop, you just go like 18 miles an hour, and it's actually pretty fast for a little scooter. But the tires are big. It's actually, and I think that these are going to probably become more and more common as gas prices raise and things like that. You got these little renewable energy type vehicles for short distance travel. Like Casey loves it because he likes to go get fresh produce and stuff all the time. So he just grabs his backpack and he goes up to the store and he gets what he wants and brings it.
Uh-oh. Did I freeze or did you freeze? If you guys can hear me, let me know.
It gives them an excuse. I can hear you.
I'm back. No, I think I froze. It's kind of storming here, and I think my internet might have flaked out. So if I freeze all of a sudden, but now you're frozen. Oh, no. Well, guys, thanks for bearing with us here. Are you back? Am I back? I don't know what's happening.
I see you.
Well, see, for me, you froze for a second, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe my internet's crashing. Oh no, hopefully not. So we'll see if it happens again, and if it does, then we can consider if we want to do something different. But anyhow, I'm looking forward to seeing these little scooters in action. I know that the technology for electric things in general has come so far, like just the electric yard tools that I have now, and they have like electric riding lawnmowers now, and it's like this technology has been around, and it just is now becoming more relevant because there's so much of a focus on being kind to the earth and gas prices going higher that now it's more relevant to make it available. But how long has it been out there that it just has been simmering behind the scenes?
Oh, a long, long time, since the days of Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla told us about everything. He told us in the 1930s, consider everything to be frequency and energy. And that's exactly what it is. And it's, yeah. Go ahead.
Do you have any thoughts on his whole thing? He said, I might be misquoting it a little bit, but if you understood the magic or mystery of 369, it would like unravel the mysteries of the universe. Have you heard that? And if so, what are your thoughts on it, if any?
I have heard that, and I think it all has to do with mathematical equations that make the geometry of what our perceived reality is, what this web of creation is. Like, so basically, at a mathematical level, it's all measurable, like the Fibonacci sequence, like all kinds of different types of sacred geometry are all measurable, and I think 369 are all parts of that mathematical language of which he discovered, which he didn't really discover. He didn't discover through his intellectual mind. That was his connection to, to source.
Yeah, and on a sound note, there's one set called solfeggio that every single frequency breaks down to a 3, a 6, or a 9. So it's really a numerology set or a Tesla set, whatever you want to call it, and not solfeggio. But there's like this 369 pattern, and that is my go-to. Like out of all the 500 tuning forks I have, that set has been present in almost every healing I've done in some capacity or another. And I even had mirror frequencies. So instead of just like the one set, I had like the inverse frequency made. And if you take the two, like 174 and 147, the difference always breaks down to a 9 if you break it down with numerology. So the 369 pattern continues, but each matched one is like a 9 for completion. So I can't wait to get you on the table and let you experience some of these sound frequencies.
Hey man, that sounds awesome. I'd love to do that. That sounds, because like I said, I want to open up the more I
Frozen. I'm frozen. Are you there? I don't know if I'm frozen or you're frozen. Anybody out there? Comment and let me know who's freezing.
get into all these things, the more I'm old.
Okay, so was it you? I don't know.
I don't know. We both were gone for a minute. I don't know what happened. How do you know if it's you or not you?
You don't. That's why I asked when I thought I was freezing. I'm like, if you're out there and you're watching, oh no, Mary Lee just said he is freezing, and I believe she means you.
He. I'm
yeah, because we're both he's, but Mary Lee is someone that I know, so I think she would be referencing you, but I don't.
That makes sense. Sure.
But anyway, we'll muddle through it. That's but now I lost my train of thought. But 369, that pattern and that set.
What do you think about it? Awesome. What do you get from that, from the 369? What's your thoughts on that?
I believe it's mathematically like the premise for part of the flower of life. It is the energy.
So you think the same thing I do. Okay.
Yeah. It's well, and I don't know if Casey had mentioned it, like just recently I started to see equations when I work with people. And I even started like writing some of them down. I had one up on the board, and like they said, this is how everything works. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like part of when I do healings for people now, it's like, what equation could I run? What algorithm could I run here that would create a different possibility? Because it is all mathematics and vibration, and it's all math. I never thought I would want to, be a math person, but apparently Spirit has other ideas for me. So I've actually been diving into mathematics a little bit to have a better understanding conceptually of what it is I'm doing when I'm running equations for people. But it's just like Reiki, that may be a particular equation for a particular energy. Everything is an equation. I'm just looking at things a little bit differently now.
Yep. And I don't think it has anything to do with our intellectual human mind. It has to do with our spirit mind. It knows all the math there is. It knows everything about it. It's fully aware. It's just got to connect to it, right?
Yeah, and ironically, one of the first beings I worked with, I had my first skull that I ever got was this little piece of Chinese fluorite. I had just got it from Goddess Elite, and my first session, I was working on someone. It's like I need to go home with them, and I need to do some work. So, like the skull, I gave it to my client, and like 5 years later, I finally got it back. But she named it Einstein. And the book I co-authored was actually channelings from Albert Einstein. And now, years later, equations are coming back into the mix. So I think this has been a subtle underlying thing, and I'm just having more awareness around it now, realizing, oh, all this time have I really been just running equations, and I just didn't know what I was calling it.
Yeah, I'm really sensitive to frequency shifts. Like even like right now, there's huge frequency shifting going on, and then that brings me into for about, I'd say, a year and a half, I've had like deep understanding coming to me about quantum shifting. I'm aware of all of these shifts. I'm aware that this isn't a fluid timeline, and I'm not even the same physical body in any way as I was in previous versions. I have full capability and awareness of these things. It's kind of freaky, and it freaks out most people when I tell them it and show it to them. But it's actually easy to understand once you start paying attention to it.
Yeah, like timelines, time, all that is like in the Matrix, they say some rules can be bent, others broken. Time is one of those things. And there's all these different timelines. What I found with COVID and a lot of the other things in the world where we have all these people focused on the same thing, that similar timelines start coalescing. And just the other day, I'm coming home from my parents, a way that I've come home a million times. I go to where my house is, my house isn't there. And then I'm like, oh, my house is somewhere else now in this, wherever I am. And I use Google to find my way there. And even though I know that it's always been there, I know it's never been there before. And it's like this very disorienting thing sometimes when that happens. But if people pay attention, it's kind of almost like a dream. Like you have this awareness that something changed. And if you can pay attention to it, you keep more of it. But if you don't really focus your attention to remember it, it fleets like a dream.
I think I locked up again, but here I am.
Oh, I don't know what you heard and what you didn't hear.
Some of it. I can't remember the last thing I heard because I was too busy like, oh no, I'm gone.
Okay, well, the Cliff Notes version is multiple timelines coalescing, and sometimes we reality shift, and what was true in a reality in one moment isn't true in another moment. And my recent example, my house was in a different place, and I actually had to use Google to find where my house was. But I know it's always been there, but in my reality, it had never been there before. And I just shifted into this new one.
Yeah, I notice all kinds of things. Even when I go now into nature, into the forest, I see all kinds of different vegetation and leaves and things I've never seen before on this planet. So it's totally different. And then I'll look it up like, oh, it's always been here. Well, not where I came from. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, last year at the apprenticeship, Casey and I scoped out one of the places we need to go to do this Nusta work, and we found this one amazing place. We did a ceremony. We left little Kintu despachos, and we come back with a group, and we look for that place, and that place was nowhere to be found. And there were such distinguishable markings that it's impossible that it couldn't be there. It's a different reality now. And there was even this one, I would call it a cosmic CK line, like a cosmic ley line. And we had even made a comment that it felt like this place only existed when this one line of energy was there, and it wouldn't be there all the time. And I wonder if that's one of the things that causes things to shift in our awareness and our perceptions.
Yep. And then the frequency reality. So whatever vibration, whatever frequency you're vibrating at, that's what the world you will live within. Because even right now, I can sense this huge timeline shift that's happening. I can see how, like, myself and some of my other people that I'm around, we see this place as heaven. We can see and feel this frequency of beauty that's happening, but also I'm aware of and can feel the opposite. I can feel the other pole pulling the other way, more fear, more intense problem basically happening for people. And I can see this happening. It's like a cell division is how my perception is of it. Basically, we're going to pop apart into two separate planes of two separate timelines is basically what it is. And then the intuition came to me and started showing me like, oh, well, this lines up with many parts of religion. This would explain like the book of Revelation and rapture, where people in the lower vibrating realm, as the higher vibrating realm separates, the higher vibrating people are going to disappear or go to heaven and a higher frequency. So boof. And then so the lower frequency also, I think that's why we're seeing things. If you can hear what's going on in the world, they're talking about letting us know that aliens exist, which of course they do. There's all kinds of dimensional beings everywhere. Most of the time they don't want anything to do with us though, because we're asleep. We're not any help to them in any way. So they're also helping us. I'm aware in my spirit guides and my relationships I'm developing with spirit, they're always letting me know that they're trying to help. They want us to grow, to become the best versions of our being that we can possibly be.
Right. And if that were, or I should say, want to happen, not if it were to happen, that could be completely transparent to people in either, well, it won't be like people are just not there. It's like, where do these people go? But with the timeline shifts, it might be like as though they were erased from existence. And you wouldn't even, you might have an awareness something changed, but you wouldn't necessarily know that people you knew yesterday are gone.
Right. I think it'll be for most people. Now, I don't think it's going to be for everybody. I think it has to do deeply with your sensitivity to frequency and energy. I think the more sensitive you are to the frequency, the more you'll notice an abrupt change. Like I notice abrupt changes in every few days. I can feel and see something different change. But I think, yeah, for the majority of the collective consciousness, it's going to be a seamless transition, because already it is happening. Like I don't feel like it's, a lot of people think like, oh, we're headed to this split. I think it's already there. It's just we're kind of overlapping still in the timeline is what I think.
So the important thing for everybody watching today is, where do you want to focus your energy? The stream right before this one with Dr. K, we were talking about energy flows, where your attention goes. And if you're focused on the trauma and the drama and the timeline that is not preferred, what are you empowering to be your reality versus what else is possible? Could there be a return to the garden, which is the name of the retreat, a return to Eden, to heaven on earth, and that type of thing? Energy flows where your attention goes. Where do you want to focus your intention and your attention to create the reality you want to be in?
Yep. And that's the free will we've been given to choose how we wish to vibrate. Because if you can't keep yourself stuck in the mental prison of fear, you'll be vibrating low, and this will create a match to the vibration of a lower vibrating reality. Whereas if you take your mind and your feeling and your spirituality and you move it towards a higher vibration. And another reason why I help people with breath work, because that's what's happened to me through learning how to breathe. I've opened up and raised my vibration and started attaching to things that always have been there for me, but they were like covered up. Because there's so many people that come to me and they'll ask me like, hey, Tony, what can I do? How can I open my third eye? I'm like, it's always open. It's just obstructed. It's obstructed by your life and trauma, overthinking, all these kinds of things. And as you breathe, open up, you can start opening this thing up. I watch it happen to people. It's like an opening flower, and it starts taking, like a mouth, it starts taking in energy in a totally different way.
There's one school of thought and another modality that a lot of the awareness and the intuitive ability used to be the job of the thymus, and as things in reality happened and that kind of atrophied or whatnot, that the awareness went to the third eye, but the thymus can be reactivated. Do you have any awareness around the thymus and how that would compare or correlate to the third eye?
I think it's all connected. I don't really look at it as separate things. I look at my entire nervous system. So my illusion of my physical body's nervous system is an antenna. So I try to work. Everything I do is basically centered around working my nervous system. Because the more I soup up my nervous system, the more. Because why is it important to work your nervous system? This is how you observe reality. You don't observe reality, you observe your nervous system. You're experiencing your nervous system. So I do things like balance work and cold water immersion, different kinds of mindfulness thinking, the breath work, all kinds of different kinds of breath work, meditation. What you're doing is you're actually improving, because so above, so below, so within, so without. When you soup this up, it attaches you out here. And then what's happening to me now is I'm able to push my Paqo out so far that I actually can connect at times to the causa. I actually can feel myself connect, zip, right into this bigger structure of an outside nervous system that I was totally unaware of before, but heard of it, because in our science, in our current science, we would be calling the causa basically the quantum field, the field of energy in which all things are created.
And to give just a vocabulary, Paqo is the luminous energy field. It may also be called an aura, and you already identified the causa. Causa is the actual living energy. Causa Pacha, the field of living energy. Just some Quechua terms from the shamanic training that we received, just so people can know what you were just saying. That's a really good awareness, because really one thing that Zane said, I think in the first year of apprenticeship, is the only thing of you that is real is the navel, and everything else is woven into the illusion. And the body is a sensory apparatus in which you're bringing in all the data of the field of living energy around you. And as you expand out, it's like that. I'm thinking of the mushrooms, like I forget what it's called, like that network. Like you're picking up
mycelium.
On yeah, you're picking up on like the cosmic version of that, and all the different awarenesses and the infinite possibilities of everything that could be.
Yeah, and that's amazing for me because that happened to me. I don't know, a few months ago is the first time that happened, and it was quite shocking. But what I was able to do is I was able to tap in and basically bring back information and relationships with more of a cosmic type energy, an energy that I was totally unfamiliar with. For my conceptual thinking mind, I perceive it as cosmic angels is how my brain sees it. Because I understand too, I have a deep awareness of like how energy and why I see what I see and why I see what I feel. It's all parts of my conceptual mind that create, because I also can see further than that. I have an ability to see in further. I can see just when everything is just, I can tell we're blobs of energy. It's like opalescent stuff fluctuating and moving around. And then my conceptual mind, as I'm taking in the information, turns it into a form. Like, so it becomes, so when I see like these cosmic energies, it starts off as this energy. And as I work with it and become familiar and create a relationship with it, it starts showing itself to me as a form. It'll actually form itself to me, show me itself in a spirit form.
I'm curious, is it showing you its form, or are you forming it?
Well, I'm forming it from energy into something that the brain can understand as a form, because my brain can't understand forever, infinity, or perceived energy. I know what it is. I can see what it is. I can read what it is. But as you sit here and you play with it, manipulate it, and use it, and start being with it, it shows itself to me. My mind creates some sort of structure for it. So we could see the same energy, the exact same energy, and not see the exact same form.
Makes sense. It sounds like point of view creates your reality a little bit.
Yeah, right. That's it.
And a reminder, this has been a quiet group, but I see people watching. If you have any questions or you have comments and you want to be part of the conversation, feel free. Or if you want to just say we're crazy, or, well, we are crazy. We're stir crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
I'm crazy about life.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But if you do have anything you'd like to contribute, feel free to. We love for these to be interactive. And I know people are used to seeing me and Casey on, but Tony is also a huge contribution, and like him and Casey are two peas in a pod, really. So like, I'm sure that as we have the opportunity to stream more, Tony's going to be a bigger part of our broadcast on Stir Crazy Shamans, especially when your schedule permits, because you have the open invitation to be here anytime. Today just happened to be perfect timing, but Casey wasn't going to be here. But I think it's working out wonderfully, because our conversation would have been very different had we had a Casey
right
on it too.
Yeah, usually I'm out. Most Fridays I'm out, because that's the other thing I do is I facilitate healings for air conditioners and furnaces and pool heaters and other mechanical devices like that. So usually I'm out doing that, facilitating healings. And actually, you and Casey were talking about something really interesting in one of them that I was watching about how I facilitated healing for my van. And I actually learned it from you. It's something, it was an intuition. It was a piece of information you gave me, helping me to understand, like, oh yeah, that's right. Everything's part of a living energy. It means if I want to, if I'm so inclined, I can change things if I wish to. And I actually had an electrical problem with my van where it was going on for about a year. I actually went through several different batteries trying to hunt it down. I'm having some sort of electrical issue with the van where the battery would be dead if I didn't use the van for like 2 days. And now every time I get in that van, since I called in energy and asked for help and change, every time now that van starts up like brand new. And I had to start, it was totally dead the last time that happened. And I said, I'm going to use this thing, what Hank gave me. I'm going to use the gift that you gave me. And right now I decided to call in and try to help the van. And it was like, all right. And then since it's been all right, been perfectly all right.
And Shamanism 101, no matter what brand, because shamanism is an umbrella where there's all kinds of different, any native tradition is lumped up under shamanism, but all of them have the idea that everything is conscious, everything is part of this field of living energy, so you can communicate on some level with everything. And I was having a problem with my car during Global Foundation. Jason was taking it with me. We would go in the car and you would just hear this weird sound. And the last day or the second to last day of foundation, I basically asked the car, what do you require from me? And I heard, give me the pig back. And this was my aunt's car. And there was this one little item, this pig that was always on the dashboard. And I had brought it in for a ceremony and I had forgotten to bring it back. And the second I put the pig back, the sound was gone and no other issues. And so, like, really, what could you be all perceive, know, be, and receive about anything going on in your life, whether it's a car issue or a house issue, chokeweed growing on the outside? Like, what are you willing to perceive, know, be, and receive about that you could then change and have a different possibility around it?
Yep. Yeah. I just thought I was so I was just so blown back by it that the capability exists. Now I'm trying to help it fix an exhaust leak. I've been unsuccessful so far, but it doesn't mean it's over. I'm going to keep trying. I just don't know the right song to sing it, to get the right frequency to get it. I just don't know what it is yet, but it exists. I'm aware it exists.
Well, and Casey would have the trick of what beings of light know what the frequency is and what they call them in, because they're not in it alone. And if I've had situations where I had a client and I'm like, what they really need is what Casey offers, but let me channel Casey. And so I've done that, and then the pain goes away. It's like, cool. And he's channeled me before when he had a tech issue. And
I've channeled you before, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I totally agree. I've channeled. I'll channel you, Zane, and Casey all at the same time, like the tri-power. And it works. It works. Like, because even like I said, I'm a baby wizard. I'm a middle-aged man, but I am a young wizard. I am a young Paqo. So it's all about learning.
How old are you?
I'm 44. I'll be 45 this year. Yeah, I'm halfway to 90.
I never would have thought that. You're older than I am, I think.
Yeah. I'm an old dude. I'm middle-aged for here. But I got to tell you, from facilitating my own personal healing from my severe illness, I've aged backwards at least a decade in the last few years. Like, I feel like I'm in my 20s. I feel really limber. My hips work. I had arthritis in both my hips, and they told me I was going to need a hip medical doctors told me I was going to need a hip replacement by the time I was 40. And now I'm almost 45 and I have full use. I can squat, move, run. I can do anything. And this is all just because of what divinity, what spirit has taught me. I didn't even know it was happening to me. I didn't know it was happening. I always knew, because I've always had like a clairsentience my whole life. I've always been able to see, understand, read danger, feel things. But I always kind of discounted it, because we're not taught to use that. Especially, I grew up in a household where anything like that would be perceived as some sort of evil, even if it was fully positive and full of love and light. It was perceived that way. So it's like, it was just dormant within me for a long time. And what had to happen is I had to hit rock bottom. Everything that had to happen for this to emerge, And now we're living in a place, and now I get to hang out with you and Casey and Zane. And this is all just the beginning of stuff. And I can't wait to hang around Zane and learn more about Zane and interact. Because just even when we're doing our classes, I kind of just sit back and watch, because nobody else is really putting in input either. So I'm like, well, I don't know how far I want to go, because I don't want to like weird anybody out either, because I don't really know what to do. But I'm starting to loosen up. I'm like, all right, this is just who I am, and whoever don't like it don't have to listen either. So
yeah, well, I invite you to ask questions, because that's one reason we changed the apprenticeship this year, and we have like the pre-recorded videos of what's important, so you can find like the real relevant stuff. And those weekly live calls are designed, let the questions fly. And he might go off on an hour tangent, but those are so golden.
I love when he goes off on the tangent. And the thing is I'm so connected to it. Like, so basically everything Zane has been giving me, as far as he spends some time expanding consciousness. This is also something I do for other people. And many of the things, his connection to divine source and the things that come through him are basically the exact same things I understand, just in different words. And so I'll sit there, I'll be amazed. And then I'll go to Mary afterwards. I'm like, I got to tell you this and that. Like, so it's amazing that we have like the same connection to things. What the questions, I don't have a lot of questions yet so far, because we haven't got into the things that I have questions about. Most of everything he's been putting out for me so far has been kind of things that I quite easily understand so far. And he's just an excellent teacher. He's fantastic at conveying energy and moving energy through people. So I don't know. I can't speak for everyone, but for me, that's the only reason. Sometimes I sit there like, hey, can you think of a question at least? So he has a question to answer. And like, I can't think fast enough to get one, because I'm just usually sitting there and I'm kind of just like, yeah, wow, this is totally great.
Well, and if you think about it, in between classes, go ahead and like, put it in the the discussion or the Facebook group or whatnot. I'm going to post, since we talked about Zane so much, for anybody who wants a taste of Zane, like the next apprenticeship isn't going to be until next spring, as we do it once a year. It's like a 9-month program. And then we do have the August retreat. But if you just want to take a little bit of a taste, he has the book Inca Mountain Magic. I'm going to post a link in the comments to that. So if you'd like to check it out on Amazon, that's a wonderful starting point that gives an overview of the tradition, of the Kartari tradition of cross-cultural shamanism, and a little taste of Zane. And we've had him on live streams before, so you can go back on Stir Crazy Shamans or Emergence of Being or my channel, Sonic Shaman. There's a whole bunch of little tidbits where Zane has been on and has offered all kinds of cool wisdom and all that good stuff. So here's a copy of or a link to the book.
I actually got that book. I have that book. I started reading it, but I have this habit where I try to read 3 or 4 books at once. And I'll read a little of this one, a little of this one, a little of this one. So it takes me a while usually to finish one single book, because I'm usually reading 4 at a time. Like right now, I'm reading The Lost Book of Enki, which actually has some tasty information about energy and understanding of the soul and energies of that nature. And then of course, Wim Hof books. I've read all kinds of different Wim Hof books and things about breathing. James Nestor, The Oxygen Advantage. There's all kinds of different things that I like to learn about. And basically physiology, neuropsychology, neurology, those kind of things all really touch me in a certain way, especially with the things we do. Because there's even studies out now that are really quite amazing, showing that doing breath work and apnea holds can reverse or stop Alzheimer's or dementia, other neurological deficiency type diseases in their tracks, and maybe even reverse them. It's due to movement of blood, lymph, and cerebral spinal fluid into the brain, which is what? Energy, right? That's really what that is. And what causes this neurodegeneration is lack of energy flow. It's lack of flow of energy into the tissues. So as you increase that, you start waking up. That's what will happen.
I'm curious, has any of the breathwork studies specifically looked at nitric oxide release by chance, if you know?
Absolutely, yeah. So I help people, all kinds of people with different things. Like right now it's like sinus season for most people. And I have some videos on YouTube, and I also train people personally ways to increase your nitric oxide in the paranasal sinus, because it's generated in the paranasal sinus. And I can just show you right here. One of the easiest things to do is you just take some breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. Just normal breathing. You don't have to do anything intense. But then when you get to just pick an exhale, and when you pick an exhale, you pinch your nose. You're exhaled, pinch your nose, and then you tilt your head back and forth like this, or you could shake it like this. And what's happening when you're doing that, you're building up nitric oxide in the paranasal sinus. And then when you breathe in through the nose, you're inhaling the nitric oxide, and it's going in, it's expanding the alveolar structures in the lungs, allowing more oxygenation, and then it gets into the bloodstream. It expands it dilates the blood vessels, lowers the heart rate, lowers blood pressure, it opens up. And then most people, they start feeling like, I just did that just a little bit. I'm so trained now to do it. Right away, I can feel energy moving through my head and hands, because I've just opened up the pathway, my connection.
And just to parallel that with sound, Dr. John Boyeux, who wrote the book Human Tuning, he had all these experiments where they would do blood draws before and after sound therapy sessions, and they found that solfeggio tones, solar harmonics, like the perfect fifth and other frequencies, they promote a cellular response called puffing, which is a release of nitric oxide. And they also were doing studies where they could show that certain sound frequencies, like if you get the perfect fifth, and we're using it in the auric field of a client with Alzheimer's or things like that, that it could slow or reverse that as well. And it was all from the nitric oxide. So same thing with 2 different ways. And now what if we start combining some sound and some breath work and all that good stuff? Like, it would be,
we're going to find out, I think.
Yes, we are. Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to find out. Yeah, because like I said, I've always been deep into the understanding of frequency within the body and how it works and everything. And there's even patents. The U.S. government has a series of patents as far back as the 40s showing how they can control mental states, physical states, all kinds of things just through frequency. So, which that's a whole nother story. We don't really know what they're doing to other human beings. And I think that has a lot to do with, like, the more trapped you are within your cycle of low vibration, the more you'll be controlled by this exterior frequencies is my perception and intuition of it.
Absolutely. And since I mentioned that other book, I'm going to post a book or a link for a human thing as well. Anybody who wants to get into sound healing at all, this is like one of the best references. He's very scientific. He's the one that I created a course called The Science Behind the Sound, because sound work and even breath work, since there's science behind it, they're like these bridging modalities. Because how many times have you had someone come that they don't really want to be there, like the wife drugged them or whatever the case is? But when you can speak to a little bit of science around things, people who aren't as open to receiving a spiritual healing, maybe they can receive a scientific healing, and it can get them to the point where this worked and there's some science, maybe other things work too. And I've seen a lot of people open up as a result of starting with some sound where they can wrap their head around it, and then moving into a little bit more shamana type of things.
Right. Got to open up that energy field, open up. You got to shut off that direct thing that tries to block out the frequency which is always around us. The divine frequency and our innate ability to heal is always there. It's clouded from us, and we got to open that up. And then that brought me into an intuition I had recently, telling Casey that I know what our primary goals are. All of us, you, Zane, me, everybody. What our whole goal is to heal each other. Through healing each other, we raise the collective vibration and create a whole new reality, that higher world where we end up at.
Yep. Or the wording I would use is the goal is to be in the world but not of it, though it's the kingdom of me functioning from the kingdom of we. And when you can do that, you're in creationship with everything. You're in I-need with everything, and it creates this spiral of possibility for not just you, but for all of humanity. And that is where I feel we're all going as a collective. And it sounds like we're on the same page for quite a few things. I love it.
Well, yeah, we're connected to the same stream of divine consciousness. So there's no doubt about that. So you'll always see things. It's just we all have our particular powers. We all have our particular things. Like for you, I can see and I can sense that for you. It's very deep for you, the sound healing and things like that. And I can't wait to learn more about it. And for me, it's I'm more connected in just a little bit of different way. Casey's connected in just a little bit of different way. And it's all just variances of different ability. It's our uniqueness that makes us one whole awesome thing,
And we have a question from Anna. This is my cousin, actually. She says, my specialty is geriatrics, and I'm very concerned about all the risks of medication and other Western interventions for that population, since they often have more complications. And do either of us have any ideas on how to inspire older adults in alternative healing methods?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So for me, in my intuition, what I see is for most medications, what they do is they're cutting you off. They're actually stopping you from receiving healing frequency that we're always connected to. It's another blockade. Like that's what most medications are doing. It's blocking your innate ability to heal. And for me, of course, since I'm a breath shaman, I'm into breath work and I do all kinds of stuff. My first thing is always I try to get people to breathe. And everyone that I've ever turned on to breath work that stuck with it and kept going has made huge, fantastic change physically, mentally, spiritually, on every level, become something different. There's no reason, there's no doubt that what Brother Wim Hof is doing, that's what he's doing. Most people don't understand what's happening. They think it's just some sort of modality where you breathe and hold your breath. Like he's designed it in a way that it challenges the human ego, and what the ego doesn't know, it's sneaking in on you. Connection to source. It's connecting you to God, to the creator.
Yeah. And I know Dr. K, she's a functional medicine doctor, and one of her main things is helping people to get off of medication. So somebody like that has a medical training that also has some alternative things could be a good stepping stone for some older folks. But I think the biggest thing, when people get to a certain level of maturity and they're really set in their ways, there's like a law of dualities. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So the more we try to push them to have a different possibility, the more they're pushing back. And to be in the space of allowance where they are, then all of a sudden you're not putting the pressure on, they can step in. It gives them this space to step into a different possibility. So like it's like this dancing, energetic dance to have with some people, where you're not forcing them into anything, but you can be the invitation of the possibility. So then they're stepping into it versus trying to force them or manipulating them into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because you can't force healing. It's impossible. You can't force anyone to heal. They have to be open and ready to receive. And the whole idea is getting them open, getting that mind open, figuring out ways. And not everybody's going to open up, and that's okay. But you just give them possibilities, ways to open up, show them that there's new ways.
And asking questions is a great tool for that. Like an access, if you had some, like you would never impose a point of view. They say one of the most unkind things you can do as a healer is sticking somebody with your point of view. So, but being the invitation and asking the question, well, this hasn't been working. What would create a different possibility for you? Like posing the questions where through their own awareness and through their own questioning, they can then get to a place where they're making a choice versus just trying to stick them with the point of view. There's a whole different energy around it. And if it's their own choice, then maybe that would create a different possibility. Hopefully that helps you a little bit. And then group activities like in senior centers and things, I know that there's been sound healers that would go in and do little sound baths, and they think that it's just a social thing that can, that gives them something to do. They can go listen to pretty tones, but really the frequencies are doing amazing things within the physiological body and also energy pathways. So there can be sneaky things too. Or playing Jill Matson has all these CDs that have spiritual frequencies built into them. My favorite one is called Paint the Soul, and it is solfeggio, reverse solfeggio, and Fibonacci tones built into music. And just playing that in the background could have huge facilitation for people.
Who is that? Could you tell me that again, Hank? Because I want to check that out. Paint the Soul, you said?
Yeah, it's called, I believe, Paint Your Soul or Paint the Soul. It's by Jill Matson. And she has all kinds of different ones. She has like deep wave healing, which is all frequencies of organs and things like that for organ healing. She has ones that are to the planets, so it's called Stardust. I've worked with Jill in the past and has hosted her for workshops, and we're actually working on a book together about solfeggio. So that hopefully will be. It's not being held up because of me. I have my part of the book to do still, but there's going to be some things coming out around that. Her part's done. I just have to put in my part, especially with the mirror frequencies, because I've been working with them for a while now, and I've actually started to develop protocols for people to get started with on how to use solfeggio along with master frequencies, which are also custom forks, along with Chiron, which is a frequency of the original wound or the place that is sticking us and where it's bringing up themes of disease in our life. So a combination of those things, doing like a multi-being healing. It's fun stuff. But yeah, Jill Matson, check her out. She is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely will. I can't wait. And I can't wait to do something with you where I can experience some of your magic and your phenomena. I can't wait for that to happen. We do that. Plus, we gotta do something. I gotta get you over here in this ice tub over here, Hank. You want to get in there? You want to get in the portal to a new dimension? You'll come out a new guy after you go in there.
Yeah, I'm sure I will, and I'm open to it. I'm not going to say I won't do it. You're being the invitation for me. And then I'll put up Anna's comment, then we're going to wrap because we want to be wrapped before the hour, so I can throw this on Instagram or whatnot. But Anna was offering that some hospitals are starting to offer other options, such as a pain team, including someone who does Reiki, massage, acupuncture, pressure, along with the MD and pharmacist. The Cleveland Clinic actually did a double-blind placebo study on Reiki, where they were doing blood draws before and after. They had people hooked up to some sort of monitoring thing, and they had fake practitioners. So the people receiving the Reiki didn't know if they were having a real Reiki person or a fake Reiki person. And they may not understand what's happening, but even their study shows that something is occurring, and they've offered it. You can, if you're having a surgery at the Cleveland Clinic, you can opt for getting a Reiki session before or after your surgery and all kinds of things. So there is this coming together of Western and alternative type of things. It's just, it's not happening as fast as we would like.
And it's just the proof in the pudding. It goes to show you it's the perfect case scenario, knowing that you're not in a body is within you. You're an energy field. Your physical idea of the body is just a focused central area of this energy field of which you actually are.
Well, that's a thing that they brought up in Access just recently with Dr. Dane's new book, The Body Whisperer, that the body is in you, you are not in the body. That is a huge revelation. As an infinite being, could you possibly fit in this body? Or is it more likely that the body is within you?
No, you can't. This is just a focused central point of it. That's what it is. And for me, it's opened up to a point where now I can see that. I can open my vision and actually see this in other people. I can see this. Another really cool thing, really quick, is what I can see is I can see ancestry in people. It shows up as this swirling mosaic of tiles behind people's head that goes back, and I can pretty much sense all the energies. Because here, think of how many people did it take for you to be alive? Like 8 billion. It took many, many people for you to be, for me to be, and we are those people through our tuning, through that, because that gets into epigenetics and the frequency you're taking in. You actually are them. We actually are those people. We actually are those souls all put together in this one thing, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, and there is another person. He wrote the book Biology of Belief. His name is Bruce Lipton, who has worked with belief statements to actually change DNA and things. So even though that is the ancestry, he would like do a test, and there would be predisposition markers for certain things. He would work with them doing, I'm not sure exactly the modality, some sort of belief system work on the theta level, and do the same test, and those predispositions are gone. So even with all that, it is not something that has to define you and be in a conclusion. Everything is subject to healing and possibility, and just another great resource. And that's also very science based. So that's another good thing for people who are not as open to wrap their head around something, because he's a scientist of some kind. I forget exactly his
he's epigeneticist. Bruce Lipton's an epigeneticist. He's been doing this since the 60s. He has a deep understanding, and if you get into him, it's both. It's scientific and it's energy. He's aware. He tries to explain it in, like how you're saying, in a scientific standpoint, to get the mind moving and then open the mind to be able to receive information through energetic standpoint.
Yeah, so truly, with all these examples we've given today, weaving in all these people doing science like Dr. John Boyu and Bruce Lipton, what else is possible? Because even science is saying this stuff is possible. So what if the only thing stopping it from being possible is you? Not you, but like everybody watching.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
Absolutely.
With that, we're right at the hour mark. So, Tony, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm glad that we just chose not to stream. Like, it was way more fun, and I feel created way more of the world by hanging out for the hour.
Yeah, as long as we can get in here and make a contribution, I love it, man. That's the whole point, is to try to change this place and have a good time. And it was an honor, Hank, and I hope to do more of these things with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if it's not Friday, I do streams on other channels and things too. So there's always a possibility to create a little bit more. But until next time, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Please be the invitation and invite people to watch these videos if you feel they'll get something out of it. Don't share it, and be the invitation for people to receive. And until next time, we will catch you later.
Thank you.